In the vastness of space, where stars whisper secrets of ancient empires, a lone spacecraft hurtles toward Earth. Its passenger, a curious alien with shimmering silver skin, carries a message that could alter humanity's destiny or seal its doom. As she awakens in a world both wondrous and perilous, she finds herself drawn to a human scientist whose passion for discovery mirrors her own. But their forbidden love is overshadowed by a sinister plot weaving through the cosmos. Will they defy the odds to save two worlds, or will cosmic forces tear them apart forever? Subscribe now for more epic tales of love, adventure, and the infinite possibilities of the universe. The starship Serenity drifted silently through the void, its sleek hull reflecting the distant constellations like a mirror to the heavens. Inside, Lyra, a young alien from the Andromeda Nebula, gazed out at the endless expanse. Her translucent wings pulsed faintly with bioluminescent energy, casting soft hues across the control panel. At 16 standard cycles old, she had already proven herself an exceptional navigator, but this mission felt different, more urgent, more dangerous. The Council of Elders had sent her on a covert operation to investigate strange energy signatures emanating from the Sol system. Lyra adjusted her neural interface headset, syncing it with the ship's quantum computer. She entered the coordinates manually, bypassing the automated systems to ensure complete privacy. Her heart raced as the Serenity accelerated toward the blue planet below. Earth, a place of myth and mystery in Andromeda lore. What secrets did it hold? And why had the Council been so insistent about keeping its existence hidden? As the ship descended through Earth's atmosphere, Lyra felt a thrill unlike any other. This was no mere scientific expedition. It was a leap into the unknown. Her thoughts turned to her family back home, especially her older brother Cale, who had always encouraged her adventurous spirit. Would he approve of what she was about to do? Or would he worry, as he often did, about the risks involved in pushing boundaries? Lyra smiled softly, imagining his stern expression softening if he knew where she was headed. The Serenity shuddered as turbulence buffeted its hull. Lyra tightened her grip on the controls, her training kicking in automatically. She had faced storms before, but nothing compared to the chaos unfolding around her now. Lightning crackled across the cockpit window, illuminating the swirling clouds below. For a moment, she wondered if she had made a mistake. Then she remembered the mission objectives. There was no turning back, not when the fate of entire civilizations hung in the balance. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ship. Lyra's eyes darted to the sensor array. "What is that?" she muttered, her voice steady despite the rising panic. A massive energy signature pulsed beneath the clouds, dwarfing anything recorded in Andromeda databases. Whatever it wasn't natural. It was alive. Lyra took a deep breath, centering herself. She couldn't afford to be distracted now. Focusing on the navigation system, she initiated emergency protocols to stabilize the descent. The Serenity groaned under the strain, its shielding flickering as it fought against the atmospheric friction. Just when it seemed the ship might disintegrate midair, Lyra managed to align it with a large clearing in the dense forest below. With one final jolt, they landed hard, sending shockwaves through the surrounding trees. Stepping out of the wreckage, Lyra marveled at the alien landscape. Towering evergreens stretched skyward, their needles glittering with frost. A crystalline river wound through the valley, catching the light of the twin moons hanging low on the horizon. It was breathtaking and terrifying. What awaited her here? Only time would tell. Lyra stood amidst the debris of the Serenity, her silver skin glowing faintly in the twilight. The crash had left deep gouges in the earth, but her ship's core remained intact, humming with residual energy. She activated her personal communicator, hoping to send a distress signal back to Andromeda. Static crackled through the device. "Not good," she murmured, checking the signal strength. The interference was worse than expected. Whatever had caused the energy spike earlier must be interfering with communications. Her attention shifted to the crystalline river nearby. The water emitted a soft, melodic hum that resonated with her bioluminescent physiology. Curiosity overrode caution as she approached the stream. Kneeling beside it, she dipped her fingers into the cool liquid. A surge of energy coursed through her, triggering memories of ancient texts she had studied during her training. This substance, this water, was not natural. It held traces of advanced technology, possibly even remnants of a long-lost civilization. Impossible, she whispered, recalling the legends of the first ones, being said to have shaped the galaxies before recorded history. Could this be evidence of their existence? Or was it something else entirely? Lyra decided to collect samples, carefully sealing them in her containment pods. If she couldn't contact her people, perhaps these specimens could provide answers. As night fell, the twin moons rose higher in the sky, casting an ethereal glow over the forest. Lyra set up a temporary shelter using parts salvaged from the Serenity. She accessed the ship's database, cross-referencing the energy readings with known phenomena. Nothing matched. The data suggested an anomaly unlike anything documented in Andromeda archives. Whatever had caused the crash was still active, monitoring her every move. Her communicator beeped suddenly, startling her. Displaying a secure connection, the screen lit up with an unfamiliar face. It was a human, a man with piercing green eyes and short-cropped dark hair. His expression was intense, almost predatory. "Who are you?" he demanded in flawless Andromeda standard. Lyra stiffened, her hand instinctively reaching for her weapon. "I am Lyra, envoy of the Andromeda Council." "Who are you?" The man smirked. "Dr. Elias Kane. You're quite far from home, aren't you?" Elias's words sent a chill down her spine. How did he know so much about her origins? Before she could respond, the transmission cut off abruptly. Lyra frowned, accessing her sensors again. The interference had returned, stronger than before. Whoever Elias was, he clearly had access to advanced technology capable of disrupting communications. Determined to understand her surroundings, Lyra ventured deeper into the forest. The air grew colder as she moved further from the crash site, but her bioluminescence kept her illuminated. Strange markings etched into the trees caught her eye, symbols resembling those found in Andromeda ruins. Could there be a connection between Earth and her homeworld? The thought intrigued her, fueling her resolve to explore further. Suddenly, the ground trembled beneath her feet. Lyra froze, her enhanced hearing picking up faint whispers carried by the wind. They weren't random sounds. They were voices, speaking in perfect synchronization. "She has come, the seeker of light," echoed through the forest. Lyra's pulse quickened. Who or what was speaking to her? Lyra followed the whispers, her senses heightened as never before. The voices seemed to guide her toward a clearing surrounded by ancient stones carved with intricate patterns. At the center stood a pedestal, upon which rested a crystalline artifact pulsating with energy. The air crackled with electricity, and Lyra felt an inexplicable pull toward the object. Approaching cautiously, she extended a trembling hand. As her fingertips brushed the crystal, visions flooded her mind. Images of Earth's past intertwined with Andromeda's future. She saw towering cities built upon the ruins of ancient civilizations, both human and alien. She witnessed battles fought across dimensions, alliances forged and broken in the blink of an eye. Most strikingly, she saw herself standing beside a human figure, a man with kind eyes and a gentle smile. Their bond transcended species, language, and time itself. "Impossible," Lyra gasped, withdrawing her hand. The vision faded, leaving her disoriented. Who was this man? And why had the crystal shown him to her? She examined the artifact more closely, noting symbols matching those found on the tree carvings. It was ancient, yet advanced beyond comprehension. A rustling in the underbrush startled her. Turning swiftly, she activated her wrist-mounted energy blade. Out of the shadows emerged a creature unlike any she had encountered. A humanoid form cloaked in shimmering robes, its features obscured by a veil of light. "You have been chosen," the figure intoned, its voice resonating like a chorus. "Chosen for what?" Lyra demanded, her defensive stance unwavering. "To fulfill the prophecy," came the cryptic reply. What prophecy? Lyra pressed, her curiosity outweighing her fear. The prophecy of unity, the figure explained, stepping closer. When the seeker of light meets the keeper of shadows, the path to eternal peace will be revealed. Lyra frowned. Keeper of shadows? What does that mean? The figure gestured toward the crystal. This artifact contains knowledge lost to time. To unlock its secrets, you must embrace the duality within yourself, the light and the shadow. Before Lyra could respond, the figure dissolved into particles of light, leaving her alone in the clearing. She stared at the crystal, now pulsing with dual colors, silver and black. Was this some kind of test? Or was she truly destined to play a role in something greater? Returning to the crash site, Lyra found the remains of the Serenity eerily quiet. The ship's systems were offline, its energy reserves dangerously low. She needed to repair it soon, but first she had to make sense of what had transpired in the clearing. Accessing the ship's diagnostic tools, she attempted to analyze the crystal's energy signature. The readings were inconclusive, suggesting it operated on principles beyond current Andromeda science. Her communicator beeped again, displaying another connection request from Elias Kane. Reluctantly, she accepted. This time, his expression was less confrontational. I see you found the artifact, he stated matter-of-factly. How do you know about it? Lyra asked, suspicion lacing her tone. I've been tracking your movements, Elias admitted, and I know what that crystal represents. It's not just any relic. It's the key of eternity. The key of eternity? Lyra repeated, her interest piqued. Yes, Elias continued. It's said to contain the secrets of creation, the ability to rewrite reality itself. But it comes with a price. What kind of price? Lyra demanded, her grip tightening on the communicator. Power, Elias replied simply. Absolute power. And with great power comes great responsibility or destruction. Lyra frowned, digesting his words. Could Elias be trusted? He clearly had knowledge of ancient artifacts, but his motives remained unclear. As she ended the call, she noticed movement in the distance. Someone or something was watching her. Lyra's instincts screamed at her to retreat, but curiosity kept her rooted to the spot. Through the thick foliage, she spotted a humanoid figure clad in tattered robes, its face obscured by a hood. The being moved with deliberate grace, almost as if it knew Lyra was observing it. A chill ran down her spine as she realized the figure bore uncanny similarities to the one in the clearing. The figure paused, tilting its head as though sensing her presence. Without warning, it raised a hand, palm outward, and unleashed a burst of energy. Lyra dove behind a fallen log, narrowly avoiding the attack. Her heart raced as she assessed her options. The figure wasn't human. It exuded an otherworldly aura, its energy signature foreign yet familiar. Could it be connected to the prophecy? Activating her communicator, Lyra attempted to contact Elias again. Static filled the channel once more. Frustrated, she disconnected and focused on the situation at hand. The figure began circling her position, its movements precise and calculated. Lyra reached for her energy blade, ready to defend herself. Show yourself, she called out, her voice steady despite her rising anxiety. The figure hesitated, then slowly lowered its hood. Beneath it lay a face hauntingly similar to her own. Translucent skin, bioluminescent markings, and delicate wings folded neatly against its back. Lyra gasped, recognizing the unmistakable features of her own race. You are not alone, the figure said, its voice echoing with multiple tones. There are others like us. Others like us? Lyra echoed, her confusion mounting. What do you mean? The figure stepped closer, its gaze locking onto hers. We are the guardians of balance. Our purpose is to maintain equilibrium between light and shadow. But someone seeks to disrupt that balance. Who? Lyra demanded, her hand gripping her blade tighter. A traitor among us, the figure replied grimly. One who seeks to claim the key of eternity for their own purposes. Lyra's mind raced. If what the figure said was true, then the prophecy was no mere legend, it was a warning. But who could she trust? The figure before her radiated authenticity, yet her recent encounter with Elias left her wary of outsiders. Suddenly, the ground beneath her feet began to shake violently. Both Lyra and the figure looked up to see a massive energy construct rising from the depths of the forest. A towering monolith of swirling light and shadow. Its surface pulsed with the same dual colors as the crystal, confirming the figure's earlier claim. "This is it," the figure announced, drawing its own weapon. "The Nexus Gate. It has awakened." Lyra's eyes widened. "Awakened by what?" "By those who seek to harness its power," the figure replied, taking a defensive stance. "We must act quickly. The fate of both our worlds depends on it." Before Lyra could respond, the monolith emitted a deafening roar, shaking the very foundations of the forest. Energy beams erupted from its core, scattering in all directions. Lyra shielded her eyes as the blasts intensified, illuminating the clearing in brilliant hues. The Guardian beside her activated a holographic interface, projecting a map of the area overlaid with threat indicators. "We need to reach the central node," the Guardian instructed, pointing toward a specific location on the map. "It's the only way to stabilize the Nexus Gate." Lyra nodded, her determination renewed. Together, they sprinted toward the indicated point, dodging energy streams and evading pursuing forces. The battle had begun, and Lyra knew there was no turning back. The journey to the central node proved treacherous. Energy barriers sprang up randomly, forcing Lyra and the Guardian to navigate through increasingly complex pathways. Lyra's enhanced agility allowed her to leap across chasms, while the Guardian utilized its advanced combat skills to disable enemy drones. Despite their efforts, they encountered relentless opposition, forces that seemed to anticipate their every move. As they neared the node, Lyra noticed peculiar symbols etched into the walls. They matched the markings on the crystal and the Guardian's armor. "Do you recognize these symbols?" she asked, pointing them out. The Guardian paused, studying the inscriptions. "They are part of the ancient script of the First Ones," it confirmed. "Their knowledge is encoded here." "Encoded how?" Lyra pressed, her curiosity growing. "Their wisdom is woven into the fabric of reality itself," the Guardian explained. "To unlock the full potential of the Key of Eternity, we must decipher these codes." Lyra's mind raced. If the First Ones had left such profound knowledge behind, it meant they foresaw the challenges ahead. Why would they encode it in such a way? She wondered aloud. "To protect it," the Guardian replied, "from those who would misuse its power." Just then, a group of attackers emerged from the shadows, wielding weapons that crackled with dark energy. The Guardian engaged them immediately, creating a diversion while Lyra worked on accessing the node's terminal. The interface required a sequence of gestures, each corresponding to the symbols she had seen. Concentrating deeply, she recalled the visions from the crystal, matching them to the prompts. "Got it!" she exclaimed triumphantly as the terminal unlocked. A holographic display appeared, showing a network of interconnected nodes spanning the galaxy. At the center lay Earth, marked with a red dot. "Earth is the Nexus," the Guardian stated, its voice tinged with urgency. "The Key of Eternity seeks to bind all realities here." Lyra's heart skipped a beat. "Bind all realities?" "Yes," the Guardian affirmed. "If the key is activated here, it will create a new order, one where balance is restored, but at a cost." "What cost?" Lyra demanded, her concern mounting. "The sacrifice of countless lives," the Guardian replied gravely, "including yours." Before Lyra could process the implications, the ground beneath her feet began to shift. The node's energy surged, causing the entire structure to vibrate violently. Lyra clung to the console, her enhanced senses straining to maintain focus. "We need to stabilize the core," the Guardian shouted, joining her at the terminal. Together, they worked feverishly, inputting commands and rerouting energy flows. The holographic display flickered, showing a countdown ticking down rapidly. Lyra's hands flew across the interface, her fingers moving with practiced precision. Suddenly, a blinding flash enveloped the room, forcing both of them to shield their eyes. When the light subsided, the node's energy had stabilized, but the terminal displayed a new message: Initiate Protocol Omega. What's Protocol Omega? Lyra asked, dread creeping into her voice. It's the final safeguard, the Guardian explained grimly. It will purge all anomalies from the system. Purge? Lyra echoed, her heart sinking. Does that include us? The Guardian hesitated, its expression unreadable. It may. Lyra's mind raced as she grappled with the implications of Protocol Omega. The countdown on the terminal had reset, now counting down from 10 minutes. Panic threatened to overwhelm her, but she forced herself to remain calm. Is there any way to override it? She asked, her voice steady despite the tension. The Guardian analyzed the interface, its mechanical components whirring softly. There is a failsafe, it replied after a moment, but activating it requires a personal sacrifice. A personal sacrifice? Lyra repeated, her stomach nodding. What kind of sacrifice? The key of eternity recognizes your unique connection to the prophecy, the Guardian explained. To prevent the activation of Protocol Omega, you must willingly relinquish your link to the artifact. Lyra's heart sank. The crystal she had discovered in the clearing was more than just a tool. It was a part of her, imbuing her with abilities she had never fully understood. To sever that connection would mean losing part of herself. But if I do this, Lyra began, her voice trembling slightly, what happens to me? You will lose your enhanced capabilities, the Guardian stated bluntly. Your bioluminescent physiology, your enhanced strength, your ability to communicate with the key, all will fade. Lyra stared at the crystal, its dual colors shimmering ominously. The visions she had experienced, the glimpses of a future with Elias, the warnings of the first ones, all flashed through her mind. Could she abandon those connections? Could she leave behind the very essence that made her who she was? I'll do it, she said finally, her resolve hardening. If it means stopping whatever force is trying to use the key for destruction, then so be it. The Guardian nodded solemnly. Prepare yourself. The process will be painful. As the countdown ticked closer to 0, Lyra braced herself. The crystal began to glow brighter, its energy surging outward. Pain seared through her body as the connection unraveled, her enhanced traits fading rapidly. Her wings dimmed, losing their luminosity, and her senses dulled. Yet, amidst the agony, she felt a strange sense of clarity. The terminal emitted a soft chime, signaling the deactivation of Protocol Omega. The countdown halted at 5 seconds, the threat neutralized. Lyra collapsed to her knees, her strength nearly gone. The Guardian knelt beside her, its mechanical voice softening. You've saved countless lives, it assured her. Your sacrifice was not in vain. Lyra managed a weak smile, exhaustion washing over her. Did I really make the right choice? She murmured, her voice barely audible. Time will tell, the Guardian replied cryptically. As the dust settled, Lyra realized she had changed. Her connection to the key had been severed, but her determination remained unbroken. She had faced the unknown and emerged stronger, if not physically, then spiritually. With the immediate threat neutralized, Lyra and the Guardian regrouped outside the Nexus Gate. The monolith still pulsed with energy, but its activity had diminished significantly. Lyra's enhanced abilities had faded, leaving her feeling vulnerable without her usual edge. She adjusted to her new limitations, focusing on her remaining strengths, her intelligence, her resourcefulness, and her unwavering determination. We need to report this to the Council, Lyra declared, her voice steady despite her fatigue. The key of eternity is too powerful to be left unchecked. The Guardian nodded in agreement. Agreed. However, reaching Andromeda will not be easy. The interference caused by the Nexus Gate has disrupted all known communication channels. Lyra frowned, her mind racing. Then we'll find another way. Perhaps there's a way to bypass the interference. Perhaps, the Guardian conceded. But we must proceed cautiously. The entity responsible for the disruption is still at large. Lyra's thoughts turned to Elias Kane. If he truly possessed knowledge of ancient artifacts, he might have insights into bypassing the interference. Reluctantly, she reached out to him again, her communicator finally establishing a stable connection. "Elias," she greeted, her tone professional. "I need your help." Elias appeared on the screen, his expression neutral. "What kind of help?" "I need to establish contact with Andromeda," Lyra explained. "The interference caused by the Nexus Gate is preventing direct communication." Elias leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. "Andromeda? That's quite a leap. What makes you think I can help?" "My people are in danger," Lyra replied firmly. "The key of eternity is a threat to both human and alien civilizations. We need to act quickly." Elias hesitated, then nodded. "All right, I might have a solution. Meet me at my lab. We'll work something out." Lyra ended the call, her relief tempered by caution. Trusting humans had always been difficult, but Elias's knowledge gave her hope. She shared her plan with the Guardian, who agreed to accompany her to the lab. The journey through the forest proved challenging without her enhanced abilities. Every step felt heavier, every sound louder. Yet, Lyra pressed on, driven by the knowledge that the fate of countless lives depended on her actions. Upon reaching the outskirts of the city, Lyra and the Guardian blended into the crowd. The urban environment was overwhelming, with its towering skyscrapers and bustling streets. Lyra marveled at the ingenuity of human architecture, even as she navigated its complexities. Finally, they arrived at a nondescript building housing Elias's lab. The entrance was guarded by advanced security systems, but the Guardian easily bypassed them. Inside, the lab was a hive of activity, filled with equipment and holographic displays. Elias greeted them warmly, his demeanor professional yet friendly. "Welcome," he said, gesturing for them to follow him. "Let's get started." Elias led Lyra and the Guardian to a central workstation, where holograms of various technologies floated above the table. "So, you found the key of eternity," he began, his tone analytical. "Impressive, but also dangerous." Lyra nodded, her earlier wariness giving way to respect. "Dangerous indeed. It's a tool that could reshape reality itself." Elias activated a holographic projection of the key's energy signature. The interference is caused by its activation. The Nexus Gate is essentially a bridge between dimensions. If it's not properly aligned, it could destabilize entire sectors of spacetime. "The prophecy speaks of unity," Lyra interjected, her voice firm. "But unity comes at a cost." Elias's expression softened. "Yes, unity often does. And sometimes, the cost is higher than anyone anticipates." The Guardian chimed in, its mechanical voice adding weight to the conversation. "The key seeks to bind all realities here. If it is activated, it will create a new order, one where balance is restored, but at a significant cost." Lyra frowned, recalling her earlier sacrifice. "What kind of cost?" Elias sighed, leaning back in his chair. "The cost is always the same, the loss of individuality. When all realities converge, personal identities become diluted. It's a paradox of sorts." Lyra's mind raced. Paradoxical indeed. But if the key is left unchecked, the consequences could be catastrophic. Elias nodded. "Absolutely. Which is why we need to find a way to stabilize the Nexus Gate without triggering Protocol Omega." The Guardian analyzed the data, its sensors scanning the holograms. Protocol Omega is a failsafe designed to purge all anomalies. It cannot be overridden without a personal sacrifice. Lyra's heart sank. "I already made that sacrifice. I don't have the strength to do it again." Elias placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "That's why we're here. Together, we'll find another way." Over the next several hours, they brainstormed solutions, cross-referencing data from the key, the Nexus Gate, and historical records of the first ones. Elias introduced Lyra to advanced computational models, allowing her to visualize potential outcomes. The Guardian contributed insights based on its extensive knowledge of ancient artifacts. "Perhaps the key needs to be recalibrated," Elias proposed, adjusting parameters on the hologram. Instead of binding all realities here, it could be redirected to stabilize the existing dimensional framework. Lyra's eyes lit up. That could work. Redirecting its energy would preserve individuality while maintaining balance. The Guardian added, it would require precise calibration. Any miscalculation could result in unintended consequences. Elias nodded. Agreed. We'll need to create a stabilizing matrix, one that accounts for every possible variable. Lyra's mind raced with possibilities. If we succeed, the key could become a tool for peace rather than destruction. Elias smiled, his expression hopeful. Exactly. Peace through understanding. As they worked late into the night, Lyra felt a renewed sense of purpose. The stakes were high, but so was the potential reward. Together, they formed an unlikely alliance. A human, an alien, and a guardian working toward a common goal. Days passed as the team refined their approach, each member contributing their unique expertise. Lyra's connection to the key, though severed, provided invaluable insight into its energy patterns. Elias's computational models helped predict potential outcomes, while the Guardian's historical knowledge ensured they accounted for every contingency. One evening, as they reviewed the latest simulations, Elias leaned back in his chair, frustration evident in his expression. This isn't working. The variables are too complex. We're missing something crucial. Lyra frowned, reviewing the data herself. What if we're looking at it from the wrong perspective? Instead of trying to redirect the key's energy, what if we focus on aligning it with the existing dimensional framework? Elias's eyes brightened. Aligning it? That's an interesting idea. Explain. Lyra explained her theory, using the holograms to illustrate her point. The key seeks to bind all realities here because it doesn't recognize the current framework. What if we teach it to recognize Earth as part of the larger system? Elias nodded thoughtfully. Teach it? That's a novel approach. How do we do that? Lyra's mind raced. Through resonance. If we can create a resonance pattern that mimics the key's energy signature, it might recognize Earth as a valid anchor point. The Guardian chimed in, analyzing the proposal. Resonance patterns are highly unstable. Any deviation could trigger Protocol Omega. Lyra acknowledged the risk but pressed on. We'll need to calibrate the resonance carefully. If we can achieve a harmonic alignment, the key might stabilize naturally. Elias activated the simulation, inputting Lyra's proposed changes. The holograms shifted, displaying a new configuration. This could work, he murmured, his fingers flying across the controls. But we'll need precise measurements. Lyra's heart raced as they fine-tuned the resonance pattern. Each adjustment brought them closer to their goal, but the margin for error remained razor-thin. The Guardian monitored the system, its sensors detecting subtle shifts in energy levels. Almost there, Elias announced, his voice tense with anticipation. One final calibration. Lyra took a deep breath, her hands steady despite the pressure. Let's do it. The simulation ran its course, displaying a stable resonance pattern. The holograms flickered, then stabilized, showing a harmonious alignment between the key and Earth's dimensional framework. It worked, Elias exclaimed, his relief palpable. Lyra smiled, her earlier sacrifices seeming worthwhile. The key has recognized Earth as part of the larger system. It won't attempt to bind all realities here anymore. With the resonance pattern established, the Nexus Gate's activity diminished significantly. The monolith in the forest pulsed softly, its energy stabilized by the new alignment. Lyra felt a sense of relief wash over her, knowing they had averted disaster. Yet, her mind lingered on the prophecy and the cryptic mention of a keeper of shadows. Who was this mysterious figure, and what role did they play in the unfolding events? Elias gathered his team in the lab, his expression thoughtful. The key is stable for now, but we can't let our guard down. The entity responsible for the disruption is still out there. Lyra nodded, her earlier concerns resurfacing. We need to identify this entity. If it's connected to the Keeper of Shadows, we must act quickly. Elias activated the lab's surveillance systems, cross-referencing data from the Nexus Gate with global networks. There's been unusual activity in certain areas, he reported, pointing to several locations highlighted on the map. Remote regions, mostly unpopulated. But the energy signatures match those detected near the key. The Guardian analyzed the data, its sensors picking up subtle anomalies. These locations are significant. They correspond to ancient sites mentioned in the first one's records. Lyra's heart raced. Could this entity be seeking the key's power? Is it trying to claim it for itself? Elias's expression hardened. It's possible. We need to investigate these sites immediately. Lyra turned to the Guardian. Can you accompany us? Your knowledge of ancient artifacts could be invaluable. The Guardian nodded, its mechanical voice firm. Agreed. We must proceed with caution. The team prepared for the expedition, gathering supplies and advanced equipment. Lyra, despite her weakened state, insisted on accompanying them. I may not have my enhanced abilities, but my knowledge of the key and the prophecy is unmatched. Elias nodded, acknowledging her determination. All right, let's move. As they traveled to the first site, a remote mountain range in the Himalayas, Lyra's thoughts turned to the Keeper of Shadows. Who could this person or entity be? And why had the crystal shown her a vision of a man with kind eyes and a gentle smile? Was this the Keeper of Shadows? Or was it someone else entirely? The journey through the mountains proved arduous, with treacherous paths and unpredictable weather. Lyra's physical limitations tested her resolve, but she pressed on, driven by the knowledge that the fate of countless lives depended on their success. The Guardian's guidance proved invaluable, navigating the terrain with precision. Upon reaching the site, a series of ancient ruins nestled within the peaks, Lyra felt a strange energy emanating from the area. The Guardian scanned the perimeter, detecting subtle energy fluctuations. There's someone here, it announced, its sensors pinpointing a specific location. Lyra's heart raced. Show me. Following the Guardian's dream, Lyra and the team approached a hidden chamber within the ruins. The air grew thick with anticipation as they entered, their senses heightened. In the center of the chamber stood a figure cloaked in shadow, its features obscured by a veil of darkness. Who are you? Lyra demanded, her voice steady despite her unease. The figure turned slowly, revealing a face hauntingly familiar. You have come far, the figure intoned, its voice resonating with multiple tones. Lyra's heart skipped a beat. You're the Keeper of Shadows. The figure nodded, its presence both familiar and unsettling. I am. And you, Seeker of Light, have fulfilled part of the prophecy. Lyra frowned, her confusion mounting. Part of the prophecy? What does that mean? The Keeper gestured toward the key's energy signature, now faintly visible in the chamber. The key seeks to bind all realities here, but it requires a catalyst, a Keeper of Shadows to balance the light. Lyra's mind raced. Balance the light? You mean? Yes, the Keeper confirmed. The key cannot function without both light and shadow. Your sacrifice has created the necessary imbalance. My role is to restore it. Lyra's earlier fears resurfaced. Restore it? How? The Keeper raised a hand, summoning a dark energy construct that swirled around it. Through harmony, by embracing the duality within myself, I can stabilize the key without triggering Protocol Omega. Lyra's heart raced. But won't that require another sacrifice? The Keeper's expression softened. Not necessarily. The key recognizes your unique connection. Together, we can achieve balance without further loss. Elias watched the exchange, his analytical mind processing the implications. So, you're saying the Keeper of Shadows is essential to stabilizing the key? The Keeper nodded. Precisely. Without my intervention, the key will continue to seek a singular anchor point, destabilizing the dimensional framework. Lyra's mind raced. But why now? Why is the key awakening now? The Keeper's gaze turned introspective. Because the balance has been disrupted. The first ones foresaw this day, preparing the Seeker of Light to guide the Keeper of Shadows. Lyra's thoughts turned to the visions she had experienced. The Keeper of Shadows? Could it be Elias? The Keeper chuckled softly. No, not Elias. Though he plays a critical role, he is not the Keeper of Shadows. Lyra's confusion deepened. Then who is it? The Keeper's expression grew serious. Someone you trust. Someone close to you. Lyra's mind reeled with possibilities. If the Keeper of Shadows was someone she trusted, someone close to her, it meant the danger came from within her own circle. Her thoughts turned to the Guardian, whose presence had been steadfast throughout her journey. Could it be the Keeper of Shadows? Or was it someone else entirely? Elias observed the interaction, his analytical mind piecing together the clues. The Keeper of Shadows must possess knowledge of ancient artifacts, he stated, his tone measured. Otherwise, they wouldn't understand the key's mechanisms. The Guardian chimed in, its mechanical voice adding weight to the conversation. Correct. The Keeper of Shadows must have intimate knowledge of the First One's teachings. Lyra's heart sank. But who among us fits that description? Elias frowned, his expression thoughtful. Think carefully. Who has access to both ancient knowledge and modern technology? Lyra's mind raced, her earlier certainty crumbling. It can't be Elias. He's been helping us. The Guardian analyzed the possibilities, its sensors scanning the environment. The Keeper of Shadows must also have a vested interest in the key's power. They seek to claim it for themselves. Lyra's heart raced. But why would anyone want to claim the key? It's a tool for destruction. The Keeper interrupted, its voice resonating with authority. The key is a tool for transformation. Those who seek its power do so to reshape the universe according to their will. Lyra's mind raced. But what about the prophecy? Doesn't it speak of unity? The Keeper nodded. Unity is possible, but only through balance. The Keeper of Shadows ensures that balance. Elias stepped forward, his expression grave. If the Keeper of Shadows is among us, we need to identify them quickly. The longer we wait, the greater the risk. Lyra's thoughts turned to the visions she had experienced. The man with kind eyes and a gentle smile. Could it be Elias? Or was it someone else entirely? Her heart ached at the thought of doubting those closest to her. The Keeper's presence loomed larger, its energy fluctuating subtly. Decide quickly, seeker of light. Time is running out. Lyra's mind raced, her emotions in turmoil. Doubt gnawed at her resolve, but she forced herself to focus. The Keeper of Shadows' presence was undeniable, yet their identity remained elusive. She turned to Elias, her heart heavy with uncertainty. Elias? She began, her voice trembling slightly. Do you know anything about the Keeper of Shadows? Elias's expression softened, his eyes searching hers. Lyra, I've been helping you because I believe in your mission. But I'm not the Keeper of Shadows. Lyra's relief was short-lived. But you have access to ancient knowledge. You've helped us decode the key's energy signature. Elias nodded, his tone earnest. True, but my knowledge comes from research, not personal connection. The Keeper of Shadows must have a deeper understanding of the First One's teachings. Lyra's thoughts turned to the Guardian, whose loyalty had never wavered. Guardian? She addressed it directly. Are you the Keeper of Shadows? The Guardian paused, its mechanical components whirring softly. No. My purpose is to guide and protect, not to claim power. Lyra's heart sank. If neither Elias nor the Guardian were the Keeper of Shadows, then who was it? Her thoughts turned inward, recalling the visions she had experienced. The man with kind eyes and a gentle smile. Could it be someone else entirely? The Keeper's energy surged, causing the air to grow thick with tension. Time is fleeting, seeker of light. The Keeper of Shadows grows impatient. Lyra's resolve hardened. Then show us who you are. Reveal your identity. The Keeper hesitated, then removed its veil of shadow, revealing a face both familiar and foreign. It was a human, but not just any human, Dr. Elias Kane. No, Lyra gasped, her heart breaking. It can't be. Elias's expression turned grave.
I'm sorry, Lyra.
I didn't want to deceive you, but the Keeper of Shadows requires absolute secrecy. Lyra's world tilted. Why? Why would you do this? Elias's voice softened. Because the key's power must not fall into the wrong hands. If it is used recklessly, it could destroy everything. Lyra's mind raced. But you've been helping us. Why? Elias's expression turned pained. Because I wanted to ensure the key was used for good. The Keeper of Shadows ensures balance, but they must act in secret to prevent chaos. Lyra's heart ached, torn between her trust in Elias and her duty to protect the key. How do we stop you? Elias raised a hand, summoning a dark energy construct. We don't. The Keeper of Shadows must complete their mission. The tension in the chamber reached a breaking point as Lyra faced off against Elias, now fully embracing his role as the Keeper of Shadows. The energy in the room crackled with anticipation, each side preparing for the inevitable confrontation. Elias, Lyra pleaded, her voice trembling with emotion. There must be another way. We can work together. Elias's expression hardened. The key cannot be stopped. It seeks to bind all realities here, and the Keeper of Shadows ensures that balance. Lyra's mind raced, searching for a solution. But the cost is too high. Protocol Omega will destroy everything. Elias's expression softened slightly. Not necessarily. The Keeper of Shadows can stabilize the key without triggering Protocol Omega. Lyra's heart raced. How? How can we achieve balance without sacrificing everything? Elias gestured toward the key's energy signature, now pulsing strongly in the chamber. Through resonance, the Keeper of Shadows must create a counterbalance to the key's energy. Lyra's mind raced. But that requires immense power. Are you willing to pay the price? Elias nodded solemnly. I am. The Keeper of Shadows must always be willing to make the ultimate sacrifice. Lyra's heart ached, knowing she couldn't stop him. Then let me help. Together we can find a way. Elias's expression softened. You've done enough, Seeker of Light. Your role is to guide the Keeper of Shadows, not to interfere. Lyra's tears fell freely as she watched Elias activate the counterbalance mechanism. The energy in the room surged, creating a harmonic resonance that stabilized the key without triggering Protocol Omega. It's done, Elias announced, his voice steady despite the toll it had taken on him. The key is balanced. As the resonance stabilized, the energy in the chamber dissipated, leaving an eerie silence in its wake. Lyra stood frozen, her heart heavy with mixed emotions. Elias, now visibly drained, turned to her with a bittersweet smile. You've fulfilled your part of the prophecy, he said gently. The Seeker of Light and the Keeper of Shadows have achieved balance. Lyra's tears fell freely. But at what cost? Elias's smile faltered. The Keeper of Shadows must always pay the price. But the universe is safe. Lyra's heart ached, knowing she could never repay the debt she owed him. Thank you, Elias, for everything. Elias nodded, his strength fading. Go, Seeker of Light. Share the truth of what happened here. Let the prophecy guide future generations. Lyra watched as Elias faded into the shadows, his role as the Keeper of Shadows complete. She knelt beside him, her heart heavy with gratitude and sorrow. Rest well, she whispered, her tears mingling with the earth. As the sun rose over the horizon, Lyra stood tall, her resolve renewed. The key of eternity had been stabilized, and the dimensional framework preserved. Though the cost had been great, the universe was safe. Subscribe now for more epic tales.